It's no secret F1 has become more boring in recent years, but that's not just down to one man. There are many things F1 needs to fix in order to return to its peak, which I believe hit in 2012 and has since slowly declined, with a slight resurgence in 2021 due to an epic title fight. But here are 9 ways to fix Formula 1. Number 1. Make the sport more dangerous. No, I do not mean I want to see more deaths. By making the sport more dangerous, I am focusing more on the wheel-to-wheel action. It is very common to see the FIA get involved in a battle after contact is made, even if it's the slightest bump. I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, F1 drivers used to bang wheels for Christ's sake, and the losing driver would not go straight to the FIA after they lost. George Russell. A great example of this was the legendary battle between Gilles Villeneuve and René Arnoux back in 1979. You wouldn't dare see that sort of racing near the current grid. So to clarify, I do not want to see more death in F1, I just want to see more racing in which drivers can be more aggressive without having the thought of a penalty in the back of their mind. Now of course there are limitations, like you can't just dive bomb cunts from 100 yards back, but maybe pushing someone off the track can be led away with in order for better racing. A bit like Max's driving, yes, it maybe goes over the line sometimes, but you can't deny it is entertaining. Number 2. Smaller cars. Now at least F1 have listened to our crying about this one, because they are going to do something about the weight of the cars. Over the last 2 decades, F1 cars have been piling on the weight, especially after the introduction of the turbo hybrid era in 2014, to the point where overtaking on most street circuits is nigh on impossible. I mean, just look at the size difference of the 2023 Ferrari and the 2004 model. But yes, for the 2026 regulations, F1 aim to reduce the weight of the car by 50 kilos. Currently, F1 cars are massive and weigh nearly 800 kilos, so reducing the overall weight to around 750, which is still quite heavy, being similar to the levels in 2019. So there's still a bit to go to get to the ideal weight of 620 kilos back in 2010. Number 3. Reverse sprint races, or just get rid of them. Originally, when they were introduced in 2021, I was never really on board, and since then the number of sprint races have increased, but I'm not sure the demand has. Currently, it's literally just the top 4 teams that just get additional points, with only the top 8 scoring. Now of course I have a solution, and fuck me, it is simple. Just copy F2 and reverse the top 10 after qualifying for it. Yes, I know I should be given a Nobel Prize for this idea. If I use a recent example at the Australian Grand Prix, when Max of course scored pole and would keep it for the race, but Alonso qualified 10th and therefore would start on pole for the sprint, and the point system would probably be fine as it is, because the sprint shouldn't majorly affect a team's points haul. It would just add a bit of spice to the F1 weekend and not see Max winning everything in his path.
Max Verstappen from 10th on the grid comes home to win.
Number 4. Make the cars more durable. I swear F1 cars are purposefully designed so that drivers cannot go racing wheel to wheel. Because of current designs, if you have the slightest bit of contact with your front wing, some of it will come off and a driver will more than likely have to box, ruining their race. Engineers have become so focused on getting as much downforce and aerodynamic advantage in their components that the cars are designed not to race each other. I look back to the example of Villeneuve versus Arnoux when they were banging wheels, back when F1 cars could take a decent bit of forceful contact. It would be great if the cars were designed to be stronger so we could see more wheel-to-wheel action, because that's what we live for as motorsport fans. Number 5. Change the engines. Yet another thing F1 has noted from us crying fans. Although the V6 is your louder than average engine, it is still nowhere near the screaming sound of a V8, or better yet, a V10 engine. Like, who doesn't want to hear that in F1 again? Now in 2026, the engine is being designed in order to produce more noise, so maybe could come close to the sound of a V8 engine, but yeah, the V10 sound will probably be a bit far-fetched. Number 6. More teams. In my opinion, F1 does not have enough cars on the grid. The fact that only 20 seats are available in one of the most competitive sports in the world is ludicrous, with talented drivers like Liam Lawson and Felipe Drugovich missing out on a deserved F1 seat. I did like the way F1 tried integrating new teams into the establishment in 2010, failing drastically, but it gave F1 those extra 6 seats and younger drivers a chance to prove themselves at the pinnacle of motorsport. It's a shame Andretti was denied access into F1, but they will get another chance maybe in 2028. Audi are joining in 2026 of course, but are fully replacing Sauber. Ideally for me, the perfect amount of teams would be around 15, and with F1 looking to go carbon neutral in 2030, this should be an appealing factor for other car manufacturers and maybe a few works teams like Andretti. Number 7. more tyre options. I remember the glorious days when F1 used to provide 5 different options of dry tyre. This would make racing better due to the teams being able to come up with more strategies to win races or score points. Or in Ferrari's case, more strategies to fuck up. I don't really understand why they reduced it to 3 in 2019. It just now means that F1 teams are all on similar strategies, which usually results in the same outcome every single race weekend. Number 8. Bring back refueling. Yes, I know the dangers of refueling in motorsport, especially when there's a spillage, but these were freak accidents that rarely occurred in F1, and once again the additional strategy options made F1 so much more interesting. It was a great way to gain an advantage over your competitors with smart tactics, but it was banned after the 2008 season. Hopefully when non-flammable fuel is created, then finally the FIA will bring it back. And finally, number 9. Remove DRS. DRS, or the drag reduction system, has been in F1 since 2011, and since then it has resulted in more overtakes, but many people, including myself, agree that these are not proper overtakes. It requires zero skill to overtake a car with DRS on the straight, and often allows other drivers to breeze past without any real challenge from the overtaken driver. A good example of this system being a flaw is with Red Bull. With their DRS system paired with a mighty Honda engine, most of Max's overtakes are done on the straight, so when he does make a charge through the field, it's not even entertaining. So either get rid of it, or once again, copy another motorsport. This time IndyCar, which have a system called push to pass. In the US single-seater series, drivers have a button on their steering wheel which gives them 40 to 50 more horsepower for 15 to 20 seconds. In total, drivers have 150 to 200 seconds of boost to use throughout the race, and can use it anywhere at any time, making it a much more efficient device to increase competitive racing. So those are 9 things I would introduce to F1 in order to make it a more entertaining watch.